The Kia Seltos is the kind of small SUV that demands attention, given its immense popularity since it launched in Australia. And as a result, if you head on over to the carsguide.com.au website, you'll find reviews on the entire range, individual variants, and even some long-term reports written by yours truly. But me and my Seltos, we've been through some stuff. So for this, I thought I'd do things just a little bit differently and start to tell you some of the things you can only discover after a couple of months with the vehicle. In other words, more than you might learn on a standard test drive. And you don't just have to take my word for it, you can hear it from Poppy too. Now make sure you hit subscribe to stay on top of all of our latest videos, and to get your full motoring fix, jump on over to the carsguide.com.au website. Kia's executives reckon they can't get their hands on enough examples of the Seltos to meet the soaring demand for it in Australia. Everyone they get, they sell. It's as simple as that. Now imagine that, in a world that's so flooded with SUVs of every possible shape and size that you're probably better off with an Arc than a car, the Seltos has struck such a chord with the buying public that the Korean brand can't build them fast enough. Now I know I promised less numbers, but some are a non-negotiable, like the price. This is the Kia Seltos Sport Plus in front-wheel drive. It'll cost you $33,990 drive away and sits below only the GT line model in the Seltos family tree. The Sport Plus is also available as an all-wheel drive, which swaps the engine out for a 1.6-litre turbo and the CVT transmission for a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. But it also ups the cost to $37,490. And if you're a city dweller like me, then I really wouldn't bother. Either way, it means the Sport Plus isn't particularly cheap, but you do get a whole bunch of stuff for your investment. The first and possibly biggest surprise in the Kia Seltos is this permeating sense of quality in the cabin. Now, it's not a premium car and it's not pretending to be, and certainly some of the cabin materials attest to that. But in a way, that's what makes it that little bit more surprising. The doors, for example, shut with this solid thud, not the wet cardboard feeling you get in some cars, and there are plenty of nice elements to grab your attention in the cabin. This top-mounted 10.25-inch screen, for example, is pretty much flawless. It syncs quickly and easily with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's big, clear, easy to use, and you will use it all the time. But there are some other really nice touch points too. For example, I love these lights. They just take the gentlest of touches to turn on or off. The aircon controls are digital, there's a digital screen for the driver, and it's not just tech for tech's sake, it's stuff you will use every time you get in the car, and you will appreciate it. The equipment list continues from there, of course. Think 7-inch alloys, climate control on the front, push-button start and keyless entry, LED interior lights, leather-accented seating, and more safety stuff than you can shake a parking sensor at, earning the Seltos a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. There are front and rear parking sensors, a rear view camera with guidance lines, and 6 airbags, but it's also home to some high-tech equipment too. The Sport Plus model gets lane keep assist, AEB with pedestrian and cyclist detection, rear cross traffic avoidance, lane change assist, and blind spot detection. The other important thing to know about the Seltos is that it actually isn't that small, and that's important to know because not all small SUVs are created equal, and some offer more space than others. In this one, for example, I'm sitting behind my own 175cm driving position, and I've got plenty of knee room, plenty of headroom, and you can genuinely fit 2 adults back here in comfort. Now, if your child has 2 legs instead of 4, there's ISOFIX attachment points in each of the window seats, but it is missing some crucial stuff in my opinion. There's no air vents, no USB charging points, no power outlets, so it is a bit lacking in tech back here. Now, its size also means a big boot. In fact, it's 433 litres with the rear seats in place, outshines cars like the Mazda CX-30 or the Nissan Juke. In fact, it outshines most others in the small SUV segment. Our car gets a 2-litre petrol engine delivering 110 kilowatts and 180 newton meters, with that power fed through a CVT automatic and sent to the front tyres. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there is a more powerful Seltos Sport Plus available, but again, I really wouldn't bother. The power on offer here is enough to make the Kia feel sprightly, and you don't really long for out-and-out pace in the small SUV segment. Fuel use, by the way, has been hovering between about 7 and 9 litres per 100, depending on the mix of city or freeway driving that we're doing. So if you're like me, the 3-litre CVT probably strike cold fear into your heart, standing as they do for a continuously variable transmission. In other words, those automatics that drone on like a economics lecture that car companies turn to save fuel. Now, this car has a CVT, but to be honest with you, they are so vastly improved on the CVTs of old that I think I'd actually rather have this than the dual clutch gearbox available in more expensive models, which some of my Cars Guide colleagues do say can feel a bit jerky in low speeds, but not this one. In fact, you can actually forget it's a CVT at all. It's not until you really put your foot down that it makes its presence known in the cabin. To be perfectly honest with you, it's a pretty happy drive experience all round. The steering's nice and easy. The ride can feel a little jumpy over harsh road surfaces, but it does help you feel connected to the road below, which I prefer anyway. To be fair, there's really no complaints. We've even had this thing on quite long trips and found the seats to be really comfortable. Fuel used to be pretty good. It's a pretty happy all-rounder. It might not be the last word in dynamics or luxury or even comfort, but it does all the little things so well that it all adds up to a pretty convincing package. So what's the most important thing I can tell you about the Kia Seltos? Probably the thing that matters the most, and that is that after 4 months of living with this one, my wife and I, nor Poppy, can find anything that would really stop us getting one ourselves. It might be Kia's first attempt at a small SUV, but critically, it doesn't feel like a first attempt.